Hey y'all, this is Marley K. I am coming to you today because I want to talk about some things that I've been noticing over the last couple of weeks. And I wasn't sure about what was happening, but now I feel confident enough to talk about it. Um, and it's about Vice President Harris. And if you've been paying attention over the last probably 2 weeks, there has been a steady pouring or leaking of information about her approval ratings, about things that are happening behind the scenes in the Biden administration where she's concerned. And so people are starting to talk about um, her performance and her approval rating. And they are low, really low. Like her approval rating is below Joe Biden's, which means she's unpopular. And of course, we know why she's unpopular. But, people are puzzled about why she's unpopular. And it's not just among African Americans, it's among other people um, across the country. So people don't really have any confidence in her. She's made a couple of gaffes. She hasn't been present at the border. People have these different expectations of her. She's been selective about where she goes to offer up her face, basically. And so she's not doing the Democratic Party um, any justice at all. Like, she's not helping them, and so they are ready to dump her. So they're slowly but surely ripping her apart. Basically, white supremacy is breaking their tool, and she's getting her wake-up call. You know, just what it is, what it is. So I don't necessarily have anything personally against her. I just don't particularly care for people who work in the criminal justice system crossing over into politics. I just don't. It's just not a good mix for us Black people, and I just have an issue with people who make that as their career choice. If you do, that's fine, but stay in that realm, and it's cool. I don't mind voting for you if you're going to be sheriff, if you're going to be a prosecutor, and you promise you're going to do some stuff. But at the end of the day, you're still working for white supremacy. You're still working in the white supremacist system. You are still working to keep Black people oppressed through policy and enforcing that policy. So it's kind of difficult for anybody who is sane and in touch with how the system works to support people who cross over from criminal justice into good old politics. So that's always been my stance. I've had that stance from day one, and I don't care who it is. It's not just her personally. Pretty much anybody who runs. That is my perspective. So a lot of people don't, they take it personal, but politics is business. And my business is protecting Black people. My business has always been looking out for Black people and poor people. It's just not necessarily um, Black people, but just poor people who don't have a voice. I've always advocated for them. And so now, I just see how poor white people and poor brown people will align with white supremacy before they align with poor Black people. I'm just pretty much like trying to protect Black people. And so, when I come and say, hey, this is why I feel the way I feel, I feel that way because it's a threat to Black people. It's a threat to my sons and my grandchildren and my father, my brother, my family members who work and live and serve this country too. So I'm not supporting anybody who hurts us. Um, and that's just my position. So as far as Vice President Harris is concerned, she was in a position that I couldn't support. And I've tried my best not to say anything negative about her. And I'm not saying anything negative about her now, except that I noticed the dominant society is tearing her down. And they're tearing her down because they're ready for her to move on. She's not serving them any purpose. She's got to go. So look for the Democratic Party to start bashing her and leaking stuff. It's not by accident. It's on purpose. And the fact that it's coming from overseas and here says that they want to hurry up and tear her down. So I'm not sure if she's going to end up resigning or she's going to stay and hide the next 3 years or what's going to happen. But what I do know is that she is definitely challenged in some areas, and she is going to have to make some choices as far as like um, where she is going to be in the party. I don't see her being on the ticket in 2024. And I see them tearing her down now so that they can make sure she's not on the ticket trying to run for president or vice president in 2024. They don't want any competition. And they also don't want Black people to have a say in this election. And I'll explain this comment. TD Hip Hop News did a really good video last week on the New Democrats. I don't know if you've been hearing anything about New Democrats, but there are a group of Democrats who have created this video, of course, with the approval of the party and Nancy Pelosi and the leaders, upper leadership in the party in Congress. They have created this video called them calling themselves the New Democrats. But what is interesting about the video is everybody is really light skinned. There are no Black people. If they are, they are like biracial. They are like passing. They could pass for something else that's not Black. And there were some white people in the video. So between white, Hispanic, Native American, other people, a couple of LGBTQ minorities, people of color, but not Black people. And so they are calling themselves the New Democrats, and they are trying to separate themselves from the old Black people like not Nancy Pelosi, the old Democrats like Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Jim Clyburn, Barbara Lee, Sheila Jackson. So they want to separate themselves from them, but they also want to separate themselves from the Squad and Bernie Sanders progressives and anybody who may keep them from being palatable for moderate white people, basically nice racists. So I put the link to that video in my bio. Please, please, please watch it. It is important because what you're seeing is the Democratic Party moving away from Black people. Like, they're not relying on the Black vote anymore. They don't feel like they have to. And they feel that way because enough Black people vote for the Democratic Party anyway, regardless of whether they offer them something or not. And they feel that they have given their grandfathers enough tokens and legislation and money that they will come out for them and vote for them in 2022 and 2024. What they don't know, that Black people know, is that these people are anti-Black. A lot of them. So I'm not saying all of them, but enough are anti-Black that I don't care what you give them. They are still going to vote Republican. So what they're going to learn is what they learned in Virginia last week is that, yeah, they did all this stuff for the LGBTQ community, for white women, for feminists, for Asians. All those groups, Hispanics, all those groups ended up voting more for the racist Republican governor and Republicans in general than they did for Democrats in 2020. And the Black vote was down a lot. So it just shows that Black people are dissatisfied, and Black people are not just, they're paying attention to the fact that the Democratic Party has overlooked them and that Joe Biden specifically promised to have our back, and he have nothing but knives to put in it. So people are paying attention. People are remembering. Thank goodness. I hope they continue to remember. And I hope that, Black people continue to voice their frustration and dissatisfaction with the Democratic Party. Because what is going to happen is they're going to have to do something. And what we don't know is what that do something is. It looks like they're pivoting away from Black people and Black votes and going in the direction of the People of Color Coalition, because what they're trying to do is mesh together this new coalition that they formed to finally get it all together for the Great Reset. Like, they're refining white supremacy, and what you're seeing now with all the minorities and the people of color being at the top and the heads of these different positions in the government is that this is what they anticipate is going to be. So if we don't push back and we don't make our frustrations and dissatisfactions known, and if we don't strategically plan to counter whatever it is that they're doing, we still won't get any legislation and will still be ignored. And, um, you know, if they lose, we still gonna be in the same position we're in now. If they win and we don't do anything, but complain on Twitter and not vote and not plan and not strategize, we'll still be in the same position we're in right now. But know that what we are doing is giving us an advantage. Like, they see they have an issue. So what you've been doing has been working. Um, don't think that they're not paying attention. They are paying attention. They know that they have an issue with the Black vote, which is why they're trying to get rid of Senator Harris. And so I don't know if they're going to try to put somebody else Black in her place, or if they're just going to move on from Black people completely and go to the people of color, or try the LGBTQ IA community with a Pete Buttigieg pick for VP or president. Like, I don't know what's going to happen, but pay attention to what is going on, because the political season has started now. It's now. We're doing 2022 today. You're there. So read all the news sources that you can. There are things that liberal media isn't talking about, because, of course, all of it is connected. But sometimes they try to make the Democrats shine when there's nothing that should be shining. And sometimes the conservative media actually has legitimate tips. This slow leak about this approval rating I have been seeing for a couple of weeks in conservative circles. So the fact that it's in conservative circles means that they're going to use it as a tactic to attack Democrats in 2022 and 2024. And she's going to be the target. And so, if you lashing out at Black people, it's easy to convince white people to support Republicans, if it's anything to do with being anti-Black. So they're going to try to counter that by either taking her off the ticket and picking a better Black, or not having a Black person at all. And as you can see, somebody from the criminal justice system that's Black isn't working. So I don't see them picking like a Val Demings or somebody like that to take her place, because Senator Harris or Vice President Harris came from the criminal justice system. And so people don't like her. Black people don't like that. And we're not going to respond to that. I think enough of us will, but I think enough of us have shown that we won't. And if they can't get the support of white people, then they're not going to win. So they have to make sure they show up the top and the bottom of that ticket. And again, I don't know who's going to be on the top. I would be shocked if Joe Biden is still at the top of the ticket in 2024, because he's not doing good. By the time 2024 comes around, like, who knows what'll happen. But what I do know is that police, fire responders, and military that have been discharged or put on leave without pay are pissed. And the government is worried that those people who have military training, because remember, The people that are refusing to take the vaccine have been trained and militarized to turn on us. Well, they mad at the government now, so those people get ready to turn on the government. And those people are more dangerous than us because they know all the business we don't know. So they're concerned about a lot of different things. They're not going to talk about it. But I've been reading stories about um, basically police saying it's getting ready to be the Hunger Games. And so that basically means that they're going to leave communities unprotected, which means we as citizens will have less protection in our communities. And if you live in a poor community or a community that has high crime rates are going to spike because police are not going to be there to respond. Also, um, it could be an influx or increase in domestic terrorism. And they're not talking about that, but there's definitely a concern. I don't know if you saw where in, I think it was Iowa, Nebraska, the National Guard refused to do adhere to the mandate. The governor did. So that means they get federal money and they're refusing the mandate. And so, that's the showdown. We don't really know what's going to happen, but it's showing that the military and the police are rejecting the mandates. And by doing so, it is putting pressure on the government to have to do something. And you think about all those police who are protesting in New York, in Washington State, in California, different places. They are like literally refusing to take it and like getting ready to lose their jobs unless the Supreme Court steps in and stops those rulings. Those things will happen, and people are laid off right now and they don't have income. They can't take care of their families. They can't pay bills. It's the holidays. It's cold. Those people are getting ready to cut the hell up. And when I tell you, you better be ready, have your stuff in your house, not be trying to be in the streets and being ready for the purge. Get ready because these people are planning. When the police officer tells you to get ready for the Hunger Games, you better listen. So I'm going to put some stories that I've read in the bio. Please take a minute to, browse them, read them. But understand there are a lot of things at play here. And the decisions that they are making are not necessarily addressing us in totality. Some of the things that are driving our politics got to do with the mandate and people being disgruntled because they're losing income and not able to take care of their families, and people just don't like to be told what to do. They want to have autonomy over their body, and if they have to be punished and they have power to retaliate, they're going to retaliate. And so police, first responders, and the military, it's a huge number of those people who have been militarized and have capabilities to bring harm to not only us, but also to the government. And so I'm going to put some links in the bio. Please make sure you read them. Check out the stories that are coming out from different sources because it's not by accident, it's intentional. So understand 2020 politics is here. People are making decisions about how they're going to stay in power in 2022 and 2024. And whether they say it or not, what we do matters. And so they're looking at ways to try to get the black vote and show up that moderate white vote that they lost in the last election cycle last week. So pay attention, read, watch those news sources, and watch white supremacy start breaking their tubes, honey. They're getting ready to do that because is bad. So get yourselves together, get your house in order, plan, prep. If you need to do the last minute stuff, don't wait, because over the next year, you're going to start seeing America go downhill real fast, especially with this mandate and the confusion around employment and work. You know, people who can't work and can't take care of themselves, they're going to do what they got to do. And so you don't want to be a victim. So take care of yourselves, get your house in order, pay attention to these politics, because this is a new day. It's a refinement and a reset happening. And we are going to be collateral damage if we don't prepare. And, you know, there may be some things that we cannot control, but there are a lot of things that we can control. And so being a sitting duck is something that you could control. So be safe, put your mask on, because they done released the new out overseas and it's coming here. They've started to shut down overseas and it's coming here soon. We won't shut down, but we will be sick if we ignore, you know, what's happening overseas. So take care of yourselves, family. I'm going to put these links in the bio and I will talk to you soon. Be safe, be safe, be safe, and be wise.